We continue now. The mayor and I were just talking about watching the guys up in Roswell doing their morning show from NMMI.
Right.
Newly remodeled, and there you are. They're doing some B-roll video now. So this is the team room.
Okay.
For the high school, or for the Broncos, that would be the junior college.
Junior college, yeah.
And so, there's the trophy case, and they got the national trophy, and then there's the locker room.
Wow, very nice. That's quite the place, quite the facility.
Yeah, that's the junior college locker room now.
That's what you get a national championship, and then look what happens. All these great things. So.
Yeah, and look at how fancy these locker areas are. They've got the spot on the top for your shoulder pads.
Right.
And then they've got locking cubby holes, and then here's the team room area.
Oh, my goodness.
With shelves and TVs and chairs and all these pictures that Jeff took. Not our Jeff. Jeff with a G, not Jeff with a J.
Gotcha.
We had to do that yesterday. And then here's the volleyball offices. Right. That you can see, and so the volleyball coaches have much nicer offices with windows, and then there's one office in the building. I think they're stopping the video because they're getting ready to go live. But it's really impressive what they did. They're having an open house today, starting at 10 o'clock. So if you're headed to Roswell or in Roswell, this is some of the other offices. This is on the north end of the building now,
right?
And this is the part that they expanded out. That used to be unused gym floor space, and so this is one of the coaches' offices. Got a little meeting room area there, and the TVs are so big. How can they watch them from their desk?
It's amazing what they can do with these facilities, and we're lucky. I mean, I know a lot of folks in Artesia probably have graduated from NIMI, went to junior college there. I know quite a few of my friends that have. My dad went there. Lots of folks around this area have gone there. So it's kind of a cool thing to have so close to us that we could go look. And I know a lot of these schools, like I said, are getting these big, huge upgrades. It's incredible the amount of money I think Tech just announced, over $20 million for their stadium.
Oh,
they're
wow.
going to do an upgrade there. I know Taylor goes to Waco, which I've said a few times, and goes to Baylor, and I know they're doing huge renovations, and it's cool.
Yeah.
They do some amazing stuff. So, and some of these facilities are just incredible.
Well, and I think what's amazing about here is that obviously the campus is full of historic buildings.
Yeah.
And they didn't tear the building down.
Right.
And they retained a lot of the character of the old building. The rafters are still holding up the ceiling over the gym floor. The brick the walls are still retained. But they've added all of the technology and the creature comforts that we expect today. Yeah. So we had the dolly full of equipment to take up there yesterday, and we went up the handicap ramp.
Right.
And the door from that ramp goes right onto the floor. So if anybody's wheelchair, that it's real convenient to get up the ramp and come in that door, and you're right there at the gym floor. And now there's bathrooms and elevators, and I think the most amazing thing to me is this catwalk, and I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but it goes from the entryway on the second floor and it wraps all the way around and comes back over to this end of the floor.
Oh, okay.
And then there's the box that juts out where the scoreboard operator or the announcers or the public address announcers sit.
Yeah.
And the last time we did a broadcast from that gym prior to the renovation, we were doing a neutral site playoff game. I think Roswell High was playing somebody.
Right.
And it was a neutral site game. So it may have been Goddard, and they played it in this gym. And to get to that area to do the broadcast before, you had to walk up the bleachers, and there was a ladder mounted on the back wall.
Oh, okay.
And had, with all your equipment and everything, you had to climb up that ladder to get to that deal. Now they've got this beautiful catwalk. You can put people along the catwalk and set tables to do the broadcasts. And
oh gosh,
it's just really beautiful what they've done with it. So they've retained the character of the original building, but they've modernized it. They've got super duper Wi-Fi. There's internet connections everywhere. There's big screen TVs all over the place. I mean, it's just...
And I really like when they do that. I know folks, you've got to have bigger, better, and all those things. But I go to the pro sports because it's usually the easiest. But like Mile High Stadium, I was a huge Bronco fan. Mm-hmm. And for those that don't know, apparently Condoleezza Rice now is a part owner of the Broncos, or somehow.
I saw that.
And so, whereas I quit watching the NFL for the most part, I really like Condoleezza Rice, so that's kind of cool. So, anyways, total side note. But my dad and I used to go to games all the time, and the old Mile High Stadium, and it was old. It had aluminum bleachers, but man, when we'd start stomping, the place was amazing what would happen. And obviously, the new Mile High is beautiful, and it's bigger, it's better, it's all the things you want. But you kind of lose that old historic, and you see it all over the place. So when you can take a facility and make it better and still kind of keep the bones of the original, it's kind of neat when they do that. So I don't know. I'm glad they did that. I'll have to tell Dad. I'm sure he doesn't have a clue, and he still loves NIMI. I mean, NIMI was a great thing for him, and he loved it. So I have to let him know, make sure he knows that.
Well, he can go back and watch the videos if he goes back, and he'll see the interviews plus the footage that Jeff and his Jeff with a G, not Jeff with a J.
Right.
we had to have that conversation a number of times yesterday because they were both in the same room at the same time, and it was on more than one occasion somebody said, "Hey, Jeff." And they both turned and answered.
Try having a name John. Everybody's name's John. So same thing. So
so you get used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but it is amazing because Coach Henderson was here and we were talking about the Bulldog Bowl, and he's going to send us some updated clips from the work that they're doing over there. And that facility was built in the 60s.
Okay.
Mid 60s is when it was built. I think they played their first football season 67, 68.
Right.
That's an old facility by any measure.
Sure.
Name a better high school football facility in the state of New Mexico than the Bulldog Bowl.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny when we talk about those play-in games or meet-in-the-middle games or all that. Well, it always seems like El Paso meets somebody. It seems like once a year, every once in a while, but quite often right there at the Bulldog Bowl. And it's funny if you stand on the visitor's entrance. So I'll go in and to watch the game, and I'll be standing there. It's amazing to hear these folks from Lubbock or whatever this side is coming, and then El Paso side talk about, oh my gosh, this is a high school football. So talk about being blessed with some amazing facilities. And I shared that video y'all put out the other day with the guy on the, I don't know what the official words are, but the crane hanging thing and spraying the concrete or whatever that was on the side. And I can't wait to see what it looks like. I just last time they did this, it turned out with the checker in the end zone. It was amazing. So I'm pretty excited to see the progress and hopefully watch that video, because how they do that kind of stuff is absolutely incredible. And,
sure.
And yes, here in Artesia, we're so lucky to have that, because it's like I said, these are big towns coming here, and they walk in and they're just absolutely blown away with what we have for our kids. And I got to play a state championship in there when I was in high school, because it was a meet in the middle type of deal, and y'all didn't have turf then, it was still grass. And I can remember coming from Cloudcroft, I still loved our high school field. They've since taken it away and built a new beautiful facility, but our old field, it was a cool field. It was a lot of fun and everything else, but it was nothing like the Bulldog Bowl. So I can still remember the feeling running out on the Bulldog Bowl to play our state champion. And it was not only for our kids, but the kids that get to play in it. I know when you talk to them, they still have memories of our facilities and the things we have off our kids.
I think the last state football game I remember in Albuquerque, it was when they played St. Pius, and it was at that new stadium on the west side.
Right.
I think at the time it was Lucinda or something like that.
I don't remember.
And the press facility was very nice, very built to accommodate most situations. So we didn't have any issues with it there. The seating was nice. I'm sure they had lots of bathrooms and everything. But the impression I got looking out the window and looking at the fans sitting in there was this is a big cement bowl. There was no character to it. There was no, it was just, here's this cement bowl with a bunch of bleacher seats and a football field down in it.
Right.
And again, I'm not knocking it, saying it was a bad facility.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I expected from a new facility in this era.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how they had to build it to make it last a long time. I mean, even Wilson Stadium in Albuquerque has a little bit of character to it. You can kind of see off around it in some of the neighborhoods and older stadium, but there's not many that are like the Bulldog Bowl. We were talking about Raton last night. Jeff with a G and I were talking about Raton and going up to that old stadium. And I don't know if they've updated or renovated up there, but when Artesia played up there, it was an old stone, like a World War II Depression era works project stadium. Kind of like Morris Field looks like.
Right.
And Jeff with Jay was saying how he was filming that day and they had to basically strap him to the pole.
Wow.
With the camera. I said, all right, you're not going anywhere, go to the bathroom before we tie you up here, but you're not going anywhere. And then I said, we got there to set up. And at the time I had a wireless mic that I'd gotten at Radio Shack.
Yeah.
And I set it up for my crowd mic and I turned it on and I heard through the loudspeakers in the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, what? I turned it off and I turned it on again. I click and I heard poof, 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 poof. And I said, you don't think? And I tapped the microphone. Boom, poof, poof.
Oh, no.
My mic was on the same frequency as the public address system. We could have had some fun.
That would have been an amazing day. Yeah, you could have done a lot of great things. So,
Coach says, run the ball, run the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they would have loved that. So.
I would have probably gotten away with it once.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone would look like, what?
No, and that's an old stadium that you wonder if I mean, sometimes facilities get to a point that you just there's not a number. I mean, you can pick a number on what it would cost, but it would make no sense to spend that kind of money to do that. And so sometimes, and it's kind of like the Bulldog Pit. Now, they never did tear down the Red Brick Gym.
Right.
The Red Brick Gym has been a very utilized facility. Yeah. It's going to be big for the wrestling program. But now we look at the pit, and I think some people back, was it 20 years ago when the pit was built now? I think some people,
to be more than that, I think, doesn't it?
But I think people had that same impression that you just mentioned. They remember the games in the Red Brick Gym and the packed gym and the loud and the noise and the crowd, and then we move over to the pit.
Right.
You put that same crowd that's in the Red Brick Gym, you take that same exact crowd and you put it in the pit, and you look around and go, well, where is everybody?
Right.
Yeah. But now that's become the facility for Artesia, and if anybody suggested anything be done differently there, you're going to run into all kinds of controversy with that. So
we've got to see a couple. I've gone to the Red Brick quite a bit, and that's one of those facilities, kind of like what we're talking here. It's got the brick, and I can only imagine how loud it was in there at one time, because everything's tight, everything's brick, everything's. I bet y'all's games got pretty loud and exciting. So
well, if you go in the Red Brick Gym now and you look up above and you see kind of like the storage area, I think the band stores uniforms and stuff like that.
Right.
That was where we broadcast from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of those windows was not there, and it was a chain link fence or chain link. And that's where we sat. Look out over the gym floor to do the broadcast. And I remember setting Jim Wilburn up to do that, and we didn't have internet and phone lines and all this other kind of stuff. So I'd take my, we call it a Marty, the remote pickup transmitter, and I'd have the transmitter sitting there, and I'd hook up the mixer into the transmitter, and then I'd run the antenna coax out the back through the HVAC room, out the back of the HVAC room through a little trap door so I could set the antenna out on the roof pointing back at the radio station, so we could get the signal back to Artesia to the radio station for the broadcast.
That's crazy.
And now look at what these guys are doing from there and how we do our sports. I mean, there's a laptop, a mixer with the microphones, and a video streaming computer. That's it. And we're doing 720 high def video. Over the internet.
That's it. That's what's incredible, and everything that you've done. I know tons of people appreciate it because, think it wasn't too long ago you couldn't watch football games, and there's really a lot of towns in the state, all over, even in Texas. When I can remember when New Mexico had no football that year for COVID, and Texas was still playing. I had a bunch of friends say, "Oh, well, just watch Texas high school football." I'm like, "All right." So Tanya and I would sit out on the back patio, and there isn't. It's very difficult to find.
Yeah.
We're so lucky to have someone like you that puts it out there, and people, like we were talking about the other day, all over the world really can tune in to watch Artesia Bulldogs, and it's you say it's funny, but it's really just kind of the norm here. Everybody does. Once you live in Artesia, I guarantee you, no matter where you move, you tune into the Bulldog football.
You follow the teams.
So with the technology advances, and we're just talking stadiums, but you're right. Once they do upgrade all that stuff, and the folks that can't make it to the game, if you're stuck at the house or whatever, and we're so lucky in this town to have so many amazing things and have the quality. And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting there. It really is true. I mean, you pull up a Bulldog game and you're like, wow, this is really good quality. It's easy to watch. It's fun to hear. And so, yeah,
we try.
I think we forget how lucky we are in Artesia sometimes. We take it for granted.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I think people do. They may not think about it at the time, but then they move away or go someplace else, and then they have the same experience that you did. I remember during the tail end of COVID, everything else is pretty well opening up around the rest of the country except, New Mexico, because we were being protected by our governor. As you and I have talked about before.
Yeah.
And I remember scanning through Boxcast, which is the service we use.
Yeah.
And my home school, my hometown high school, is playing basketball.
Okay.
And I remember hollering at Lana. I said, "How come they're playing basketball? And we're not?
Exactly.
This is not right. Something is not right here." But so I did the same thing. I was looking around for sports from other places, and
because it's Friday night in the fall, football's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I can still remember sitting on our back patio up there and thinking, man, there's got to be something somewhere. So we started looking. I thought, okay, Texas will be easy because they're fanatics. And, man, it's not easy. You got to buy services. And even then, the quality wasn't great on the ones we tried to watch. And I thought, man, this is crazy. You would think with as big as some of those schools are, and we did it everywhere because I watched that. They hadn't done it in a long time. Gosh, I forgot the name. Anyways, it's a football show that follows quarterbacks, QB1.
Okay.
And then they went on to be, so we watched them through high school, and then they went on to be college. Now most of them, they're all pro athletes now. And so I watched their high schools on that show. And I thought, well, let's go try to find those. Those are football. Some of those towns were crazy, Georgia, and it was almost impossible to find some of that stuff. And I thought, man, somebody could Google, if New Mexico was playing, they could Google Artesia football and watch a game right now. And everywhere else, you're not finding that.
It's a challenge.
So.
Well, the mayor's here, and we probably ought to talk mayor stuff.
Well, we are talking about Artesia, so that's a plus.
That's true.
So we are doing what we're supposed to.
All right,
sort of.
We're going to take a break.